Now that's the sound. That is definitely the sound. Without it, again, man, this thing sounds amazing.
I know the season's ripe for change. It's changing all around. I know the reasons you've arranged. They're tearing me down. Where is the peacefulness of mine?
Yeah, game over. I promise I was not planning on getting another compressor, but this happened. The Stam Audio SA76-ADG is not just another reissue of the Odd-Rey 1176, the most famous fat compressor in history. It really is the most clever design of this unit out there, with the 3 most sought after revisions of this compressor in one box. You have the blue stripe, revision A, the black face, revision D, and the more recent and transparent sound in revision G. And all 3 are the exact replica of the originals with matched components for each revision. Built with premium components, this might be the best 1176 hardware out there today. I know it made its way in my desk. Not only, it made lead vocal on the very first mix I did for a client. Let's hear how it sounds.
Hands on my neck, hands grab my throat. Lift me up, man, take control.
Hello everyone, welcome back to MixFest TV. Hope you're having a great day. Before we start, please check the info box down below for my mixing courses on Pro Mix Academy, free plugins, discounts, and special offers. And if you want to support the channel, but most important, if you want to really learn how to mix and master, click the join button down here, become a member, and access the already big and always growing library of in-depth professional mix and mastering courses, videos, and tutorials here on the channel. And you will also get mix consultations with me. Let's get to the video. Before talking about and hearing the Stam Audio in action, a brief history of the 1176 and its many revisions, which I will narrow it down to the most important, for those who are not familiar with the concept of revisions and why they sound different. Because since the very first edition of the 1176, during the years they changed components and that changed the sound. So the very first one, the sought after revision A, or blue stripe, was built in 1967. Only 25 units, which makes it as rare as a unit can be. This was the original 1176 designed by Bill Putnam for broadcast use. There were then 2 minor revisions of the blue stripe, the AB and the B. I'm not gonna go into too much technical details because basically the sound of these 3 was pretty much the same. The big change comes with the revision C and D. With these ones we have several major changes. The first one is the look. We go from a silver faceplate with a blue stripe to the black face, which is the most common. And we see the name changes from 1176 to 1176 LN, which stays for low noise. A module for reduce the noise floor of the unit is added. There's also a modification to program dependent tuning and trim pot added to feedback circuit of audio FET to minimize distortion. Basically all the mods were to reduce noise and distortion from revision A to revision D. We then have the revision E, which is pretty much the same. They only added a switch for voltage to be used over C, and then the other big revision F and G, which again are pretty much the same. On this one, the output amplifier changed to a push-pull Class AB configuration from the original Class A design. The output transformer is changed to the B1148 type with 12 dB of gain, which is the same transformer as the LA3A. On the revision G, which is the last that we find on the Stam Audio, they removed the input transformer and replaced it with a differential input op-amp stage. So what all this means in terms of sound? Well, in layman terms, the A, so the blue stripe revision, is going to be the most colored, the more mid-range forward, the more saturated sound. The D is a more gentle, subtle, and versatile character, often loved for bass, for example. Both A and D are favorites for vocals. And then we have revision G without the input transformer and the Class AB, which is going to be the most transparent. I've always had a weird relationship with 1176s. If you watch my old videos, you can see I used to have 2 blackface universal audio, and I sold them some time ago because I wasn't using them that much and they were kind of collecting dust, and they also take a lot of space because they're 2 units each. Now this, with 3 revisions in one box, that's a good use of 2 units rack. And like I said in the intro, these 3 revisions here in this box are the exact replica with components matched. When I first got it, I was looking at the components from the vent, from the grill on the top. I wanted to open it for the video, but it comes with a sigil. I didn't want to break it. But if you know anything about components, you know those components are top grade. Let's hear this thing in action. Proof that I really love this compressor or it wouldn't be on my desk. I'm gonna start this test by playing you a mix that I did for multi-talented artist Darosneck. The song is called Desire, is one of the 5 songs that I am mixing for her EP. I use the SA76 on lead vocals for the verses, and one thing that I want you to notice right away is I'm hitting anywhere between 15 and 20 dB of compression on this vocal. And this comp, just take it and doesn't even budge. For this mix, I used the D revision. You can see the settings. My ratio is a 2, and you will see the gain reduction. Then I'm gonna solo it, and I'm gonna start changing revisions on this vocal first before going to other sources. Let's hear this.
Twilight, she stands on the pier by the shore. Those eyes, has the girl been here before? She waits, hoping a sign will appear. Breakdown, there's nothing inside her but fear.
All right, first thing to notice, you can see how dynamic this vocal track is and how steady it sounds in the mix. So let's go to the second verse and I'm gonna solo the vocal for you.
He stands, this house is the key to his past. Knowing that this time it could be the last. Softly, he motions his hand toward the door. Frozen, he finds himself down on the floor.
All right, you hear it yourself and you see the waveform. You know, that big spike, you would expect any compressor to just duck too much or react in a different way. This is a real deal. I mean, the way he controls this vocal, it's pretty impressive. That's why it is in the mix. I turn it up, I tweak the setting, and that was it. And you can see there's nothing else in insert after this vocal. The only other machine that does this for me on vocals is the distressor, which in this mix I'm using for the choruses, but that's not the point. Listen to these 2 passes without the compressor. Now I'm gonna try to level match. So this is the vocal without the compressor.
Softly, he motions his hand toward the door. Frozen, he finds himself down on the floor. Softly, he motions his hand toward the door. Frozen, he finds himself down on the floor.
All right, you hear there's still the aggressiveness of the 1176. It just makes the vocal more gritty, and you would think it's a little too piercing if you listen to it by itself, but in the mix, that's not the case. This is without in the mix.
Softly, he motions his hand toward the door. Frozen, he finds himself down on the floor.
And this is with it in the mix.
Softly, he motions his hand toward the door. Frozen, he finds himself down on the floor.
All right, so major difference. And keep in mind, I'm compressing a lot. So let's try to hear the differences between the various revisions, okay? Let's start with A. And of course, you can see here, instead of the metering options, to keep the same layout of the original 76, they put these revisions here in these 4 buttons, okay? And you can hear the click when I switch. We'll start with A, the relay that changes the circuit. All right, so this is A.
Breakdown, there's nothing inside her but fear. Breakdown, there's nothing inside her but fear.
Breakdown, there's nothing inside her but fear.
All right, the main difference, you hear it immediately. The G, the revision G, is the most transparent. It's got the least amount of saturation on it.
Twilight, she stands on the pier by the shore. Those eyes, has the girl been here before? Twilight, she stands on the pier by the shore. Those eyes, has the girl been here before?
You hear the differences between A and D. They're pretty obvious if you pay attention, if you know what you're looking for. The A sounds a little more open, a little more aggressive because it has this mid-range saturation, okay? That sometimes is amazing for lead vocals, especially like we said, rock, hip hop. And sometimes it's a little too much, like for me was for this track. While D, it's pretty colored as well, but it's a little more round and it has a little more body, as in that low mid color that thickens this vocal a little bit, and for this one was perfect. That's pretty cool. You have all these options in one box. All right, let's switch to another project and we try different sources for this one. All right, let's go on with one of the most common application for an 1176, which is electric bass. This is without the compressor. Let's play with the settings a little bit. I'm gonna put in 20 ratio. We're always gonna start with A, and I'm just gonna catch the peaks of this bass. Switch to D. You hear in this case on this bass used with these extreme settings. 20 ratio is a little too much for this, but I wanted to show you it also changes the behavior, the program dependent behavior of the compressor between these two revisions. Let's try G. And you hear without it is so deflated compared with the compressor on. For this one, I actually like the A more. Let's be a little more conservative with the settings and push it a little more. I absolutely love the character. Very, very cool. Let's try it on drums. I'm gonna put it on a mono drum channel. This is without. This is with. Now that's the sound. That is definitely the sound without it again. Now you can really hear the differences between the A revision and the D revision on this drum. Let's switch again. All right, with the D, you have the classic 76 sound, saturated, kind of darkish compared to the A, but the A has so much more saturation that it actually shaves off the transient. And you can see it here in the peak level with the A revision, same settings, we are hitting -8.8. If I switch to D, we are at 3.4. So it is about what, 5 dB higher, because that's the beauty of the revision A with all that saturation. I don't even need to tell you what you can use this for with that revision. Let's try G on it. It's definitely the cleanest, and it doesn't really fit the style for this settings and this specific task. I absolutely love both A and D on this drum. I mean, this is the real deal. This is no joke. And since we are at it, before switching instrument, let's try the all button mode. Let's start with the D on this drum. That nasty spanked sound, I absolutely love the saturation on it. Like I said before, I had the Universal Audio, the 2 blackface, which I used often for this specific purpose. And maybe memory doesn't serve me well, but I like the saturation a lot more. Let's try A with these settings, all bottom mode. Man, this thing is so responsive. You hear, aside from the attack, just let that first, transient pass and it just snaps so hard. The input, you touch the input a little bit, like half of an inch, not even, and the saturation changes completely from that super, super distorted sound to just, you hear how the saturation is now more on the kick drum and the snare passes. I absolutely love this. Love it, and there's no way around it, sorry. But this kind of saturation, good luck with getting it with plugins. Like every time I hear one high quality machine like this one pushed to oblivion, I'm reminded why, we're still spending so much money in this, which is a lot of heat and a lot of electricity bills. I want to lower down. Of course, you can do combination for the buttons like you can do with any 1176, you can see. And every time you get a different kind of crazy, because the all button mode just basically makes the compressor react crazy. And I think, I don't know if this one is the same, I didn't try, but every time you hit a different combination, it changes slightly, of course. So let me try to push it without the all bottom modes. And we start with the A. Man, this thing sounds amazing. Revision D, same settings. G. I was actually a little bit worried that the different revisions wouldn't come out properly on YouTube, on a YouTube video. I don't have that doubt anymore. You can see completely different sounds. It's literally like having 3 different compressors in one box. I think I need another one at this point, I guess. This thing is a thing of beauty. I absolutely love it. Let's try acoustic guitar, one very tricky instrument to compress. Without compression first. You can hear the attack. I'm using a slow attack, although this is a fast compressor, but you can hear the difference. I'm on revision D right now. All right, listen just the beginning. And I'm exaggerating, of course, to make it obvious for the video, but this just made me love the 76 again. You hear this attack on this acoustic guitar? Let me try to use a little less compression and see how it goes. Without. Are you serious? A revision. The differences between revisions and sound are insane, and in behavior. You can hear, you want a super snappy attack on this electric guitar, just go with D. You want a little less of that pick attack on it, but still the 1176 vibe and more color, go for A. Like, listen to the differences again on the transient, same settings between A and D. And color too. I mean, it's hard to pick one. A is really nice. It's really nice. And here again, you have the 1176 behavior and attack and density, but not the saturation if you don't want it. It also changes the behavior, the gain reduction when you change the revision. Look at the gain reduction for the G. All right, let's go to A. All right, with the A, we are hitting same settings, about 4 dB of compression. With the G, we are over 7. You know, so that changes also the behavior, the program dependent, how much you're compressing, same settings. I absolutely love this thing. The differences in density with and without, it's borderline funny. And we are matching peak level, by the way. So it's not a matter of level difference, it's a matter of harmonic content and density. Now it really makes me want to get like another 3 of them because 2 are not going to be enough. Last test, let's try on a rock vocal, male rock vocal, okay? Without first.
I know the season's ripe for change. It's changing all around. I know the reasons you've arranged. They're tearing me down.
And with revision A first.
I know the season's ripe for change. It's changing all around. I know the reasons you've arranged. They're tearing me down. Where is the peacefulness of mine?
Okay, there's no need to hype. So I hope you can hear it. This sounds like a record, you know? All the billions EQ that you do on vocals usually, you know, and cut this and boost that, and you never get that freaking sound. I don't want to say anything. Like I said before, I said it before doing this test, and mind you, this is the first time I actually tested on, you know, while I'm not working, because I literally got it and tested it on a mix, and I was like, this thing is great. I'm gonna use it for this EP. The only other compressor that does this for me, especially on vocals, is a distressor, you know, and you know how much I love it. This is right there, and it might be my new favorite compressor for vocals. I'm genuinely impressed. You can probably tell because I'm smiling stupid, but listen to this. Like, I mean, listen to it again without.
I know the season's ripe for change. It's changing all around. I know the reasons you've arranged. They're tearing me down. Where is the peacefulness of mine?
And with.
I know the season's ripe for change. It's changing all around. I know the reasons you've arranged. They're tearing me down. Where is the peacefulness of mine?
I mean, you hear it. Let's try D.
I know the season's ripe for change. It's changing all around. I know the reasons you've arranged. They're tearing me down. Where is the peacefulness of mine?
G.
I know the season's ripe for change. It's changing all around. I know the reasons you've arranged.
A is freaking amazing. And it's funny because I worked with a couple of Blue Stripe before, and I kind of always found them 5 times out of 10 a little too bright. But also we are talking about vintage units, and it doesn't matter how much we romanticize vintage gear, which is amazing. My 2 old Blackface, their pots were all scratchy and they drove me crazy. You get this sound with a brand new unit, and yes, please, I will take that any day. That's also why I'm very, very curious to see how it sounds, the 670, the Stam Child, because if this is quality, that's gonna be my tube compressor.
I know the season's ripe for change. It's changing all around. I know the reasons you've arranged. They're tearing me down. Where is the peacefulness of mine?
Yeah, game over. I mean, you can hear it yourself. All right, so this was the Stam Audio SA76-ADG, 3 exact replicas of the 3 most sought after revisions in one box. This is here to stay. It made my desk, of course, and it's not going anywhere. I actually genuinely love this compressor. Before we go, let me address quickly some of the comments that I'm sure are gonna be in the comment section. How long do you have to wait to get one of the units from Stam Audio? I don't know, it depends on the period, of course. Guys, keep in mind, this guy builds this unit by hand, okay? And he has a lot of requests because it's great gear at an affordable price. So if you want one of his products, keep in mind that you have to wait. It's that simple. At this point, I'm very curious to hear is Stam Child 670, because I don't have a tube compressor. Might be that one, who knows? Stay tuned. I hope this video was useful. I hope you liked it, and if you did, please don't forget to leave a like and share. Leave your comments down below, click the join button down here to become a member and access the exclusive content. Thank you for watching. Stay safe. See you next time.
Hands on my neck, hands grip my throat. Lift me